Well, corn harvest might be over, third of our acres done, and soybean harvest probably a couple weeks away. That don't mean we get to go to the lake. There's still plenty of work to be done. Hang on after the intro and I'll get you caught up. Well, we got some soybeans there getting close to ready. They probably about a week to 2 weeks out being ready to cut. I could hit them with gramoxone also, desiccate them, make them dry down a little bit quicker, but you know, as expensive as these chemicals got, and that's another expense I really don't want to do. Plus, I really hate driving through mature beans. You know, you're going to have some yield loss from the wheel tracks and shattering and that kind of stuff. And you know, we still pretty early in the harvest season, so I'm just going to give them a chance to dry down and get ready on their own. Like I said earlier, we got done with corn harvest yesterday, and today we're focusing on trying to get all of our corn ground that we just got done harvesting, getting it sprayed with gramoxone to kill all these weeds out here. But specifically what we're targeting is Palmer amaranth or pigweeds, because I did notice a few out here when I was harvesting, and last thing we want to do is to let those go to seed and add to the seed bank, then have to fight them next year. So it's a whole lot easier if we just go ahead and fight them now. That way they won't be out here next year, and should ease up the workload and hopefully the chemical bill on us some next year. And then of course all these other weeds are not near as big a problem as what Palmer amaranth are, but any that we can keep going from seed, you know, don't have a chance of causing us problems in the future. In this field right here, if you remember, we had a real bad problem with morning glories, so we're slowly dwindling down the population of morning glories out here. Don't know if we'll ever eradicate them, but that's kind of what we're trying to do. So don't worry, this isn't going to be a complete spraying video. I'm not going to bore you with spraying, but just want to include a little clip showing you what we're out here doing today. Then you know, hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to get Nate started planting cover crops. He's never run a drill or planted before, so I'm hoping it's something I can teach him to do and have him pick up on it pretty quick, and be able to trust that he's going to be able to do it and do a good job and not make any mistakes. Because our cover crop seed, you know, normally is pretty expensive. Normally we got anywhere from $30 to $50 an acre invested in it. Well, this year cover crop seed prices have gone up even more, and a lot of it is due to the really expensive transportation costs, because a lot of these seeds that we plant, they're actually produced out west, so of course they got to be transported all the way over here into the eastern part of the US, and with diesel fuel the way it is, I mean, it costs a lot to get it here. So we've seen anywhere from like a $5 to $7 per acre increase in our seed costs. But even though it's expensive, I've got to plant those cover crops because I'm contracted to with a NRCS. And you know, some of these contracts I signed, some of these contracts I signed a couple years ago, you know, long before all of this came about. So, but it doesn't matter to me if I've got contracts on it or not. I'd still plant the cover crops because I'm such a big believer in what they're doing to our soil, rebuilding our soil, you know, weed control, all that good stuff. Now, I do believe we do make our money back, especially long term. And last thing I want to do is see a 1 year disruption in that. So we're going to put them out regardless. But anyway, I don't know if we're going to get all this done today. 500 acres. Already had one small breakdown on the sprayer, so I don't know if we get all this done today or not, but we sure going to give it a try. And it seems like every time I drive on these roads, there's some daggum farmer out here taking up the road, so inconsiderate, won't pull over for nothing, let me by. Well, I got places to be. How rude. I don't know why they can't transport this equipment at night when nobody's on the road. Alright everyone, apparently my camera didn't record audio on the next couple of clips, but basically what we're doing is this is the day after spraying our corn fields, and we're out here getting started planting our cover crops, and Kelly's going to be on the drill here for the next few days. Nate hurt his hand pretty severely outside of his job, and really don't know what his capabilities are going to be going forward, so Kelly volunteered to run the drill, so we'll give her the chance. But before she gets to going through the field, we've got to get the drill calibrated. We're shooting for 56 pounds per acre, and this process that we use to calibrate the drill I described on a video last year, how to properly calibrate the grain drill, and that's what we're doing. So anyway, we're going to try and get the drill dialed in real close, as expensive as cover crop seed is, and let her start drilling the cover crops, and then I've got another task I've got to tend to.
Always crawling around in the ground. Well, it's time to plant some cover crop seed. I know, I'm so excited, aren't I? Planting again. That's pretty much all I got. I'm gonna plant about 60 acres, I hope, today. It is 1 o'clock, haven't eaten lunch yet. Plans changed a little bit. Nate hurt his hand, so he went to the doctor. He's supposed to be doing this job, but since he hurt his hand, he can't, so now I am. I don't know why I plan anything at the house, why I plan to do anything. Every day it changes, so now I'm just gonna have to spend pretty much all day tomorrow doing what I was supposed to do today, and I only have a couple hours tomorrow, so you just feel like you get caught up and then you get behind. So yep, that's it. I'm gonna go beat myself up. Planting this is, you literally get beat up in this, so I'm just gonna turn the heated seat on, even though it's 89 degrees and it's supposed to be 100 this week. Welcome to September. And just plant the cover crops, and that's all I got.
Hey, got Kelly up and going. Looks like she's getting the hang of drilling her cover crop, and I'm out here bush hogging around the edges of our fields, make them look all nice and pretty and keep them from growing up. You know, we don't do this every year. The tree lines and stuff like to start encroaching on the fields. Plus the landlords really appreciate us making their farms look good for the winter time. So I got about 500 acres worth of fields I can go around right now where we got the corn crop out, and I'm gonna try and stay in the same vicinity as Kelly, just help her in case she's got any problems, help her get filled up and stuff. And it's be a lot better if we can stay close together and not be spread out over two separate counties in case we have problems. I don't call it a bush hog for nothing. I told Kelly she could run up to 7 miles an hour if she wants to. Looks like she's opted to go just a little slower than that. I hope running that drill over all this ground doesn't beat her body up too bad. Because with a 20-foot drill, you feel everything.
Cruising at an awesome 5.5 miles an hour. This field is rough and full of armadillo holes. See, it's going in the ground, so that's all that matters. I don't want to go any faster than 5.5 because I'm getting thrown around and my back is bad as it is. I'm not about to mess with it. And Matt's over there doing something weird. He's being weird. I don't know. He's like walking over into somebody else's field. I don't know why. Just another Saturday on the farm. And the ragweed is horrific. Oh! I need to kill it all.
Well, crap. Looks like my day is done prematurely. Had to really just break off, but apparently it had been cracked for a while. See, it's fresh break right there, but it's been broke there, cracked for quite a while. It's bound to happen. Of course, it had to wait till afternoon on a Saturday for it to break. Couldn't happen during the week when I was bush hogging earlier this week, you know, when I could go get a replacement blade. So looks like this bush hog's done till Monday. We can go get some more blades. So I guess Kelly's gonna get to go home early. She's talking about she wanting to get the pool closed up and winterized. Guess she'll have a chance to do that this afternoon now. Now Kelly gets to drive her favorite tractor back to the shop. I know she's got to be grinning from ear to ear. I might need to move my pillow and bed stuff out to the couch tonight after asking her to drive it back to the shop. She ain't gonna be too happy with me. Well, this ain't exactly what I planned on doing this afternoon. But hey, at least something's getting done. Got some nice AC going on this hot day. Got my college football on commercial break right now on the iPhone. Tennessee Volunteers playing Akron tonight at 6 o'clock. And the wife, who's pretty happy that she's going to be able to deal with the pool that she's been worrying about since, you know, the rest and relaxation time, part of the time of the year is over with. So one less thing for her to worry about. Only thing wrong with this is just not getting any fields of bush hogs. Well, we got about 175 acres worth of seed in our seed tender, so hopefully going to try and get all that planted up the rest of the day, and then tomorrow afternoon, and then Monday morning, Kelly and I are going to have to carry the semi truck over to International. Got a couple small issues with it. Check engine lights started coming on, and the AC blower control not working right. Gonna get that looked at while, you know, we're not going to need it here for a week and a half or so. And then got the service truck, got a broke fuel line on it. The fuel tank's going to have to be dropped, and I could do that myself if I had the time. I really don't want to. Just be easier to take it to a shop where they can get it up on the lift and fix it. Then after that, I'll get a set of blades for the bush hog, and I'll go back to bush hog, and Kelly or Nate can get back on here and hopefully get the cover crops finished up planting by later on next week. That's the plan anyway.
First he breaks the bush hog, then he breaks the drill. I think it's him. It's 100% him. So I get sent home, I take the bush hog back, I get all this stuff I need to get done today, and the minute I'm trying to clean up the pool that we haven't touched in a month, he calls me, he's like, I lost the seed tube, come back out here. It is now 4:30, the pool place closes in Jackson at 6, so he's got exactly 30 minutes to find this seed tube, and I have to leave, because I have to go get all the supplies that I need to clean the pool, and then eventually close the pool. So this is our Saturday, and then I come out here and I got this guy with me too, and he's following me, literally following me. And we're just, you know, we're just broadcasting the seed at this point. Ah! It's not one thing, it's another.
All right, it's Sunday afternoon. Just got out of church a little while ago. Got back here in the field. Had good church service today. Well, had a good Sunday school today. I wasn't able to make a church service because I had to work security during church service, but had a good Sunday school lesson today, and now just back out here in the field trying to get more of these cover crops planted. Got the NFL going here on Hulu, and got a long, enjoyable afternoon and just doing planting. Not having to worry about anything else, just sitting here in the tractor and planting some cover crops. You know, drilling cover crops and drilling wheat is really one of my favorite things to do here on the farm. It's just nice, simple, easy. Don't have any technology to worry about. You know, everything on the drill is all mechanical. You know, all you do is just sit up here going back and forth all day long. You know, real easy, real simple. As long as nothing tears up, breaks down, you know, it makes for a pretty relaxing day. You know, kind of like back when I was a kid, you know, everything was simple and mechanical. Of course, we didn't have all the niceties and conveniences, didn't have cabs and AC, didn't have cell phones showing the game. So anyway, all in all, looking forward to a nice, relaxing, enjoyable afternoon. You know, normally I wouldn't be out here on a Sunday afternoon, you know, unless the only time I really like to work Sunday afternoons and during the fall is if we're actively harvesting. But, you know, we're short on help. Nate had an accident with his hand outside of work day before yesterday, so don't really know what or if he's going to be able to work. So, you know, as of right now, just me and Kelly. And these cover crops got to be planted, and I really need them planted as soon as possible because it's starting to get dry again. We do have some moisture in the soil now, but it's going to be leaving in a hurry, especially this coming up week. They're calling for temperatures right up there close to 100 again for most of the week, and here in the middle of September, that's pretty unusual. So any moisture we got in the ground, we could lose, and no rain in the forecast. So I really need to get these cover crops planted, need to get them up and growing. Right now, we've got a lot of residual nitrogen left in the soil from where we applied to our corn crop, but the corn plant wasn't able to take it up because of drought. Got a lot of very expensive nitrogen in the soil. So these cover crops are going to be a big tool in reclaiming a lot of that nitrogen, you know, and being able to store it until we're able to grow another cash crop on this land, which will be cotton next year. And then as the cover crops decompose, it'll release a lot of that nitrogen back to the cotton crop. Otherwise, all the rainfall that we get this winter will leach all of that nitrogen down through the soil profile to where it is then unavailable to plants. And a big part of that dollar per unit nitrogen that we applied back late in the spring will be lost and it'll just be money wasted. Doing it this way gives us a chance to, you know, to be able to reutilize that nitrogen at a later date. And then we've also got the ability to really build up some pretty good soil organic matter this fall too, because of all that extra nitrogen. You know, we got radishes in the mix, and normally my radishes don't grow very big during the fall because there's not much nitrogen left in the soil for them to grow. Radishes really like nitrogen. But the last time that we had a drought this severe, 2012, I planted some radishes, and because of all the residual nitrogen in the soil, I mean, I grew some monster radishes. I mean, they were humongous. And my test showed that I was able to really significantly raise my organic matter on that field that I planted them on. And the organic matter level on that field is still high to this day. So, you know, all the other cover crops we plant, you know, they'll add to organic matter, but if you have a chance to grow some really big radishes, you can add a lot of organic matter in a hurry. So definitely want to take advantage of that this year. But anyway, that's all for now. Whenever I fill up the drill with seed, I'll show you exactly what we're planting then. There's some dusty stuff. All right, I promise y'all look at what exactly I'm planting here, but anyway, this is what all the seed looks like. It's a mixture of 6 different species of plants. Anyway, right here is cereal rye. This is makes up the predominant part of the mixture, and it's a grass. You know, looks kind of like a wheat seed. Grows a little bit like wheat, except it grows a lot taller. It is great for building a lot of biomass in the soil, and it's also great for weed control. It's a primary weed control cover crop that we plant, and its roots produce a chemical that has an allelopathic effect on a lot of common weeds. Winter weeds, especially horseweed or mare's tail. You plant this in your field and you won't hardly have any mare's tail come up during the winter. And then also come springtime, the allelopathic effect affects a lot of other weeds, especially like palmer amaranth and other weeds. But it's a seed we use to get primarily all of our weed control. Now these tiny white seeds that you see, well, they're hard to get, but those tiny white seeds you see is crimson clover. Now, crimson clover is a legume, and we're planting it for nitrogen production because legumes have the ability to fix their own nitrogen from the atmosphere. And whenever the clover dies, when we terminate it in the spring, then all that nitrogen that it was able to fix from the atmosphere will be returned to the soil, and then our subsequent crop will be able to use. So planting crimson clover is one of the reasons that we can cut our nitrogen rate on our cotton by half. And also, when we plant it in front of corn, if the clover is doing well, we can also cut our nitrogen rates on corn, although not near as much as what we can on cotton because corn is such a big nitrogen user. And then right here, the lot smaller grass seed, that is annual ryegrass. And to me, annual ryegrass is perhaps the most important part of the mix. It's considered a actual super crop. And the reason that is not because what happens above ground. It doesn't look spectacular above ground. It's what happens below ground. Annual ryegrass can put down roots tremendously deep into the soil, and it's what really helps break up any kind of hard pans, build up soil structure, create a lot of good deep rooting channels for our cash crops roots to follow through. And it's also been scientifically proven that the annual ryegrass exudes some kind of substance through its roots that will break up frangipans, which are historic hard pans left over from the Ice Age. And by breaking up those frangipans, it's actually turning that subsoil into topsoil. So in our highly eroded grounds, where we might only have a couple inches of topsoil, annual ryegrass is going to be is one of the biggest tools that we have to return those soils to good productivity long term and actually building topsoil. Now these bigger white seeds here are radishes. And radishes, they serve several different purposes. They've got a nice strong tap root that will drill down through any hard pans, breaking up that hard pan, allowing other roots to flow down past that hard pan to access nutrients and waters. And also in a year like this year, where I think we got a lot of residual nitrogen in the field, you know, they can grow massive. They can store a lot of nutrients that they're bringing from deeper in the soil, bring up to the top of the soil. And also when those radishes die, all that carbon that they've accumulated can really help to increase organic matter in our soils. Now, a lot of years, our radishes don't necessarily get that big. They don't look that impressive. But if we have any pockets in the field, maybe where we overlap to apply nitrogen, they can get big, and it's a great way to recycle a lot of our nutrients in the soil and make them available to later crops. All right, now these black kind of pyramid-shaped seeds is buckwheat. And buckwheat also serves several different purposes. For one thing, it's a very quick-growing, warm season plant, so it's not going to last long out here in the field because technically we're probably only about 5 weeks away before first frost. However, at this time of the year, there's hardly anything blooming out here. Everything is pretty much mature and producing seed and on its way to dying for the year. And buckwheat out in the fields is a real important source for nectar for honeybees because it will come up, it will grow quickly, and it'll start blooming before the first frost. And it'll be a very important resource for our honeybees to get one last chance at a food supply before the winter hits. And if you know anything about agriculture, you know that honeybees are incredibly important, but due to quite a few different reasons, honeybee populations are declining. So I'm trying to do my part to support local honeybee populations because that's one thing we definitely don't want to lose. So if I can provide a late season food source for them, it's definitely worth the cost of the seed. Now, buckwheat also is real important at rejuvenating poor soils. It doesn't have a very impressive root system, but buckwheat has the ability to make phosphorus more available into the soil because most of our nutrients in the soil, especially like phosphorus and potassium, we've got plenty in the soil, but it's not really in a plant available form. But buckwheat exudes some kind of substance through its roots that makes that phosphorus a lot more available. So essentially it's providing free fertility for my next crop. And looking around in here, I'm looking for rape. But the problem is rapeseed is so incredibly tiny, and I'm only putting it out at a rate of a pound per acre There's one right there, but it's a really tiny black seed. And rape is another brassica like radish. However, the taproot does not grow massive big in the presence of nitrogen. It kind of stays small and skinny, but it also will kind of bore down through the hole and break up any hard pans. And it's also come springtime, it's also really good about producing allelopathic chemicals that will really help control pigweed. I would like to plant it at a higher rate. However, killing rape in the spring has been incredibly hard for us. Most of the chemicals we use do not provide 100% control. The only thing that really provides 100% control that we found is Liberty. However, we don't typically apply that early season for the simple fact that there's other chemicals that work better for the majority of things that we need to control, and also Liberty is incredibly expensive. So, but anyway, on this mix right here, I'm planting this mix at a rate of 56 pounds per acre. I put out 35 pounds an acre of cereal rye, 8 pounds of crimson clover, 4 pounds annual ryegrass, 1 pound of rape, 4 pounds of radish, and 4 pounds of buckwheat. And unfortunately, the cost on this stuff has really gone up because most of these seeds are produced out west, and well, you know what diesel fuel costs are. It's cost a whole lot more to get these seeds from out west over here to the eastern part of the U.S. But I can't remember the total cost on this. I want to say it's just shy of around $50 an acre. However, most of that cost, you know, I'll get back in reduced inputs for next year, fertilizer and chemicals, which will really help pay for it. And then, of course, the long-term benefits of increased yield, you know, that's a more longer-term benefit, but we'll also see that. So cover crop seed is not cheap, and it's kind of a hassle to take the time to plant all of it, but the long-term benefits that we get from it is what hopefully is going to keep our farming business long-term.